Hey everybody, happy Friday. Oh my god, it's Friday, weekend is coming, you know what time it is. Today, we're actually going to go through my first steps of reviving rusty language skills. At the beginning, I'll be speaking in German, so we can kind of use that as a litmus test to see how good or bad my German is right now. And then we're going to actually go through the steps of looking at my previous activity tracking sheet for German and then making a fresh copy. Hallo liebe Leute, also heute werden wir ein bisschen nach meinen alten Language Activity Tracking Sheets schicken? How do you say this? Sehen. Oh mein Gott. Wir werden nach meinen alten Language Activity Tracking Sheets sehen und also wie ihr weißt, ich liebe meinen Tracking Sheets und ein Reason ist, dass wenn man eine Sprache vergisst, also diese Tracking Sheets diese Tracking Sheets helfen uns, also alles, das wir in der Past gemacht haben, erinnern. I don't think that's correct grammar. Also ich bin sehr, sehr glücklich, noch mein Deutsch zu lernen. Und ja, ich glaube, dass wir werden viel Spaß machen. Und ja, ich weiß nicht, was ich nicht sprachen. Just to say. How do you even just say to say? Ich weiß nicht, was zu. I don't know. I don't remember even how to say something. Okay, so I think already that's actually good enough for us to make several observations about the current state of my German. Now, of course, as always, whenever I speak in foreign languages, that was totally unscripted, and I think you probably could see that. So I think as I reflect on what just happened, the first thing I notice is that I still seem to have a very comfortable, and I think like a pretty good feel for at least the rhythm of kind of speaking in German. I think that I still clearly feel very comfortable just speaking. I think the biggest thing that is clearly lacking is vocabulary. I've definitely forgotten a lot of very basic words in German. And I'm actually glad this is happening on camera because this illustrates very clearly exactly the pattern that I always experience when languages go rusty. So usually, the ability to just speak and, you know, sort of speak in a good and fairly accurate rhythm, get the intonation in there, and again, just this general comfort with speaking, that tends to stay for a very long time. And I think that's actually the hardest thing to acquire. So when you're first learning a language, the hardest part, in my opinion, it's just that. It's like getting comfortable speaking, being able to wrap your head around the language and sort of process your thoughts quickly enough to just say them in the language. So the good news is, in my experience, and I think people I've worked with and friends I have, like that's always the thing that sticks with you, but the vocabulary is always the first thing to go. And so I think we can clearly see that here. And the last sort of simple observation we can definitely make, I think, is that the grammar was pretty rusty. Now, generally speaking, I usually find that the core sort of foundational grammatical structures, these are things that for me actually are very resilient to language atrophy. And so I find those stick around a lot longer than vocabulary. German's a bit particular because it's one of those languages where we have things like noun cases. There are some pretty tricky things about German word order, such as the second verb going at the end of the sentence. It's a little bit tricky. And so I definitely think I was struggling there, but again, I think that by and large, I was still able to at least create sentences. The other thing I will say is that I think when it comes to gender, I had pretty much no idea just now. I don't even think, I think I was purely going on just instincts, but definitely as I was speaking, I was mostly just, focused on, I'm just gonna make sure that I can express my ideas, but I was pretty much just guessing. And also I would say with the noun cases in German, I feel like I'm still pretty strongly aware of which noun case is correct. However, I was having trouble remembering what that sort of translates to in German words. So I think that gives us a really nice sort of litmus test, like I said, so we can really see okay, clearly I can still speak German to a degree, but there is a lot of rust, and I think especially vocabulary, but also definitely the grammar has some heavy rust on there as well. And I think that, yeah, I have a lot of work to do becoming comfortable and confident again when it comes to things like gender and noun cases, and I think just like the more complicated German sentences, and perhaps also, you know, German sentences where you have like a connector word, because yeah, it's a little bit tricky. So I think I really feel comfortable with where I am. So now we're gonna actually go through my very first steps when getting back to a rusty language. And for me, that's always actually going back to my good old language activity tracking sheet. So I'll put these on the screen for you. I went and pulled out my German one and even my Portuguese one as well. But I love these things, and you know, I talk about them all the time. And so the first thing that I like to do is pull out my last tracking sheet version for that language, because on there I can see everything that I did with that language last time around. So here I can see, you know, that I went through 4 graded readers, and those I remember those are all beginner. And looks like I started an intermediate graded reader. I did some Babbel German again. I've got all my easy German episodes that I really wanted to go through, some German songs, and then at the bottom you can see that that's my novel that I have chosen, which is going to be my first ever novel in German. And that's kind of like my big goal for, you know, finally getting to a really amazing level in German. And so now I have my new German language activity tracking sheet. And I have to say, it was such a delightful process to create this fresh version. You know, I got myself a really nice cup of coffee, sat down, and the first thing I did was just kind of assess my last tracking sheet, because the thing is that's really nice here is that you get the chance to reflect on the last time you studied that language. And maybe you don't necessarily want to redo everything, and maybe there were some things that didn't really work well. So as I mentioned in the last episode, I have decided to sort of go back through the entire sort of core lesson catalog on Babbel German. So I started out by sort of writing down a breakdown of all the different lessons that they have on Babbel German. And after that, I wrote down my graded reader. So this time I actually decided to expand it a bit, and I was a bit more organized. So I actually broke them down into beginner on the left side, and then after that, I wrote intermediate, and I also added the entire series of both beginner and intermediate by Andre Klein. Now, I did decide to just leave off the German songs this time, because I think that's fine. I'm gonna enjoy listening to German music, and I don't necessarily think I need to include that on my tracking sheet. But one thing I'm really excited about is I wrote down all of the easy German episodes that I had previously selected. So it's really nice because I don't have to do that again. All of this work, I did it in the past, and so I get to reap the benefits of that with a sort of second harvest of my hard work from before. And then finally, the big ticket item, you know, I made sure I had lots of space. I did a nice little design. I staggered the chapter numbers. So yeah, you can see I wrote Ein ganzes Leben, that novel that I just cannot wait to dive into. And I'm so curious to see what the experience is gonna be like reading my first ever novel in German. Now, after I was done with all of that, I decided to take things to the next level. I'm a big advocate of including just really nice, delightful little design elements to these type of things. And you don't have to be a professional artist, you don't even have to be artistically inclined. I just grabbed my awesome little box of adult colored pencils. And you know, Babbel's color is orange, so I kind of colored in some orange on the Babbel thing, and then I did blue for the graded readers, and I just had a really nice time sort of coloring in different sections. And so my plan is to use those colors to sort of shade in each number as I go through each activity. I even added a little German flag in the top left next to the title, and I don't know, it was just such a pleasant experience, and it got me really fired up, and I can't wait to dive in. And so that's basically it. My first steps are to, you know, make a video of myself speaking. I recommend you do the same thing. You don't have to publish it online, but you could just record yourself, either video or just audio. But it is a nice way to get a nice baseline, and so you can see your progress later on. And then I create my action plan, which in my case is my tracking sheet. And again, because I always do those every single time, I always have a last version for each language I've learned. And so the first thing I do is pull that out, take a look and see what I want to pull over, and then I just make a fresh copy, make it look nice, something I'm proud of, and something that I'm excited to work with. And I'm gonna look at that every single day for the next several months, and so it's got to be something that I'm excited to fill out. Now, in the past, I actually created a nice Google Drive directory where I uploaded photographs of my tracking sheets, and at this point, several hundred of you have downloaded those and really enjoyed them. So what I'll do is I'll put a photograph of this new German tracking sheet in that Google Drive. I'll leave a link in the description of the video, and in the future, I'm gonna make a nice downloadable version on my website, but for now, it's a Google Drive. Just ask for permission and I will give it to you. And what I'll do is every so often, I'll upload updated pictures of my tracking sheet. Okay, I hope you enjoyed seeing me go through those first steps. I have to say, I'm really excited to get back to my German, and I'm especially excited to be bringing all of you on the journey with me. So, of course, if you haven't already, please do leave me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you back here. I'm so excited to go do my very first Babbel German lesson in like a long time. It's gonna be great, and this whole series is gonna be great. So, all right, have a great weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday for the next episode.